It is all about engaging people now, whether indeed it is the next generation or customers. Customers and consumers. How do we engage them during the transition? Let's take a step back. How do we know what the customer needs, what the customer is wanting, and the sort of desires that that customer has of the energy industry going forward? Why is that important? Well, unless you know who your customer is, you can't serve them properly. And unless you know who your customer is, you can't hope to build that relationship that will sustain during the transition and be a productive relationship going forward. And as we all know, if you want to understand something, you need data. You need to really get to the heart of what it is that you are looking at. So I'm really thrilled to present this next session, because what you are going to see is a collaboration between Eurelectric and Accenture on looking at that customer. So first of all, we're going to give you the results of that report and that look, that project of looking to the customer. And then we're going to see what it's resulted in, what potential changes going forward. So let's start with the results of that project. So to take us through the results, and indeed what has been gained by it, please welcome the Connected Energy Services Lead at Accenture, Sanda Tuzlic. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's a privilege to be here today with you at Eurelectric's Power Summit, a cornerstone event in Europe's energy transition journey. To me, this summit is more than just a professional gathering. It's deeply personal. I have been attending this conference since 2009, and it was right here at this very event that I met my life partner, and we actually have a Eurelectric baby. True story. Thank you. Now, 15 editions later, and I'm still very inspired by the conversations, the collaboration, and the contribution and commitment this community brings to reshaping Europe's energy future. I'm here today to present the findings from the 2025 Power2People study, a comprehensive survey assessing the engagement of the residential customers in the energy transition. Now, this work builds on the original 2021 Power2People study that was launched just after Eurelectric introduced 15 pledges to customers. Pledges co-signed by over 90 electricity suppliers to empower more than 200 million residential customers with simpler, more affordable, and transparent energy solutions. But of course, with the rapidly evolving energy landscape, Eurelectric saw the need to revisit those pledges. And so in April and May of 2024, we surveyed over 2,500 consumers across 12 European countries on whether they have seen a change in choice, control, and their overall energy experience. And we also engaged over 60 energy suppliers to understand what actions they have been taking, and also what challenges still remain as they support the households through a period of crisis and transformation. Now, the result is not just a snapshot, but a powerful narrative of how consumers are experiencing and engaging with energy transition. Now, why does this matter now more than ever? Today, we stand at a pivotal moment in Europe's energy transition journey. The past few years has truly tested our resilience. The pandemic, the war in Ukraine, the surging energy prices, and the continued push to decarbonize. These events have not only reshaped the energy system, they have fundamentally transformed consumer expectations. Now, one thing is clear. Residential customer is no longer a passive recipient. They are and must be active agents in shaping our energy future. Now, we have also seen the rise in renewable energy integration at an unprecedented pace. In fact, in 2024, the number of hours when at least one EU27 member state had negative electricity prices doubled compared to 2023, reaching 18% of total hours. That's not a side note, that's a signal. Now, these dynamics are not just technical challenges for grid operators and energy suppliers. They are behavioral considerations. They demand a new kind of relationship with the customer, one built on empowerment, participation, trust. And that is exactly what the Power2People study set out to measure and understand how consumer attitudes, motivations, and behaviors and needs have changed, have shifted, and to identify what are some key obstacles preventing full participation in energy transition. Here is what we learned. Let me start with some positive news. Consumers are more engaged than they were in 2021, more aware, more willing to act, and many are actually already taking meaningful steps. So overall, the European energy consumers feel that they have more choice and control over their energy usage and a better experience when interacting with their energy supplier than they had 12 months ago. And both sides, suppliers and consumers, acknowledge that progress has been made. From the energy supplier side, they told us, the vast majority told us that they have stepped up their customer engagement efforts. 78% have invested in enhancing customer experience. 2/3 have expanded their portfolio to include new electric solutions, such as heat pumps, EV chargers, or solar panels. And 62% are actively working on making energy affordable by providing tips and tools and partnering with local support networks. And also consumers were positive, on balance. Why do I say on balance? Because the number of customers that has seen a positive change across choice, control, and experience, which is indicated with the dark purple bars, is 2 to 3 times bigger than the group that has seen a reduction, indicated by the very light purple bars. So on balance, a positive consumer perception of choice, control, and experience. So what is driving this positive consumer perception? First, awareness is clearly on the rise. 47% of consumers are now aware of their energy suppliers' offer to help them save energy costs. And that's an 8 percentage point improvement compared to 2021. And among those that are aware, 1 in 2 have actually adopted them. Second, European energy consumers have a bigger choice in terms of suppliers, and they're also reporting increasing switching rates, with nearly 1 in 3 consumers actually having switched energy supplier in the past 2 years. Again, an 8 percentage point increase since 2021. Thirdly, energy suppliers have invested in better customer experience to meet the essential energy needs of their customers, such as providing insights in energy usage or making energy bills more predictable. Fourth, adoption of solar panels and electric vehicles has doubled, more than doubled actually, compared to 2021. Today, we have 18% of consumers that actually own a solar panel, and 5% own or lease an electric vehicle. And also in terms of smart technology adoption, we have seen it growing, with over 1 in 3 consumers now using smart thermostats, energy monitors, or apps. And crucially, satisfaction is high. over 80% of consumers that have adopted these technologies find them useful and valuable. So once adopted, 4 out of 5 consumers are highly satisfied. This reflects a convergence between consumer expectations and suppliers' capabilities. This reflects an industry that is listening and acting. But progress is not the same as transformation. Despite these encouraging signs, we cannot ignore the critical gaps that remain. Almost 80% of consumers are still not actively taking part in energy transition. They are commodity users only. So barriers to deeper consumer involvement still persist. Only 2 in 5 consumers are actually aware of their supplier's electrification's offering, and fewer than half are aware of the cost savings tools that are available to them. That's a massive awareness gap. And then there is affordability. 11% feel less in control of their energy bills compared to 12 months before, primarily due to the rising energy prices. Now, this is an increase of 3 percentage points compared to 2021, which in relative terms represents nearly 40% increase. And even among the 81% of consumers who say they care about their impact on the environment, still their actions tend to be limited to cost-effective measures or cost-effective behaviors, such as adopting a more efficient lighting or just cutting back on usage. And when we ask them about top 3 reasons that are holding them back from adopting these new electric solutions, they report that cost is the #1 obstacle across all categories. So the problem isn't the lack of will. Remember, 8 out of 10 care about their impact on the environment. It's lack of access, of clarity, of affordability. To engage meaningfully, we must recognize diversity of the consumer landscape. Because let's be clear, consumers are not a single audience. They are diverse, with different needs, motivations, and barriers. In fact, in the Power2People study, we have identified 4 different groups of consumers. Some are willing and motivated to engage with the energy transitions, such as the tech-savvy ones who are early adopters of new technology and quick to engage with digital tools, or the eco-warriors who are deeply concerned about the environment and willing to act. But not all that are willing to act and see the value are actually able to do so because they are constrained, either cost constrained because they cannot afford the upfront investment in those new electric solutions, or they face some structural barriers that are beyond their control, for instance, renters. And many of them are also still undecided, and those are mostly established adults that prioritized practicality and reliability in their decision-making. And while they are environmentally aware, they often question the personal impact of their actions, and are also more cautious about adopting new technologies until really proven. And then, there are still a group of consumers that are disengaged. 5% said they don't care about their impact on the environment. And there is also a group that we call change resistors, who are hesitant or even distrustful towards new technology and delay adoption until absolutely necessary. So to engage them all, we need tailored solutions. We need inclusive design. We need policies and programs that account for these differences. So how do we go from here? Based on the insights of the consumer survey, the Power2People report outlines 3 calls for engagement to the wider energy ecosystem. First is about flexible energy contracts. Now, with the rise in renewables, flexibility is no longer optional. It's the strategic necessity. Time of use tariffs, dynamic pricing, peak shaving programs offer consumers the ability to control and lower cost and support grid stability. And in fact, 2 in 3 consumers told us they're interested in such a flexible energy contract. So this is about aligning incentives. It's about giving people tools to act when the sun is shining or the wind is blowing. So let's make that easy, not confusing, beneficial, not risky. Second, smart technology enablement. Smart meters, thermostats, all these tools allow consumers to understand, manage, and optimize their energy use. But adoption is uneven. And why is that? Well, because for most people, the tech still feels too complex or irrelevant. I mean, only 21% see themselves as tech-savvy, as we have seen before. So that leaves nearly 80% who need us to simplify, to educate, to inspire confidence. Let's move from product features to personal benefits, from specs to stories. And finally, the targeted inclusive engagement. We need to shift from mass messaging to personalized communication, from generic offers to community-based programs. This means collaborating with social services to reach vulnerable customers, designing solutions for renters, not just homeowners, offering innovative financing models to spread the cost of adoption, speaking the language of trust, not tech jargon. Engagement must be empathetic. Policy must be enabling, and programs must be accessible. Now, let me conclude with some final thoughts. Europe's energy future depends on consumers, not just as ratepayers, but as active participants. Yes, we have the technology. Yes, we have the policy momentum. But without meaningful consumer engagement, we will fall short on our goals. The challenge ahead is not only to decarbonize the system, but to democratize it, to make sure every household, every individual has the opportunity to benefit from and contribute to the energy transition, to make sure that indeed nobody is left behind. Let me be clear. Europe's energy future depends on engaged, informed, and empowered consumers. This is no longer optional, it's essential. The most powerful force for change, it's not the infrastructure, it's the people. And Power2People isn't just a slogan. It's our blueprint, it's our responsibility, and it's the future we must build together. Power2People, thank you very much.